My partner called me out over dirty dishes, but it wasn't about the dishes. I'm not really sure how to write this without sounding like the villain, but maybe I am the villain. Or maybe I'm just someone who never learned how to fight properly. Either way, here it goes. My name's Alex, I'm 28, and I've been with my partner, Riley, 29, for almost 3 years. Riley is, in every way, the opposite of me. They're bold, fiery, expressive. If something's bothering them, you'll hear about it right away. I'm the opposite. I grew up in a house where arguments meant slamming doors and cold silences that lasted for days. So I learned to shut down when things got tense, to walk away, cool off, and come back later. It worked fine for most of my life. But in this relationship, it's becoming a battlefield. It started over something so stupid I feel embarrassed even typing it: dishes. We live in a small apartment, nothing fancy, open kitchen, creaky floors, a couch that Riley's mom gave us when she upgraded. That night, Riley came home from a long shift. They work in social services, which means their job is basically managing crises all day. I'd made pasta for dinner, and yeah, I left the dishes in the sink. I figured I'd do them in the morning. Riley walked in, looked at the sink, and immediately sighed. Really, Alex? Again? I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone. I looked up and said, I'll get them later. That should have been the end of it. But with Riley, it never is. They started in on how it wasn't about the dishes, it was about respect, about pulling my weight, about how tired they were of always cleaning up after me. Their voice got sharper with every sentence. And me? I froze. My chest tightened, my brain screamed escape, and before I even realized what I was doing, I got up and walked into the bedroom, shut the door. Now, to me, that's how you avoid making things worse. Give it space, cool down, talk when we're both calmer. To Riley? That's the ultimate betrayal. They followed me into the room, their voice breaking, saying I was shutting them out, dismissing them, acting like their feelings didn't matter. I stood there, fists clenched at my sides, staring at the floor, praying they'd stop. Eventually, Riley threw their hands up, said, I can't do this with you, and left. They didn't even sleep in our bed that night, just curled up on the couch, back turned toward the hallway. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell leaving dishes in the sink turned into this. The next morning, things were icy. Riley barely spoke to me as they got ready for work. I tried to say, I'm sorry, I'll do the dishes right away, but they shook their head and muttered, it's not about the damn dishes, Alex. That phrase, it's not about the dishes, haunted me all day. Fast forward a week. We'd been circling each other like ghosts in our own apartment, polite but distant. I thought maybe the storm had passed. But then came round 2. We were at Riley's parents' house for Sunday dinner. Their family is the kind that thrives on lively debates, politics, sports, who makes the best barbecue sauce. Voices get raised, but nobody takes it personally. It's like a sport. Me? I hate it. I sit there, stiff as a board, smiling when I should, praying nobody drags me in. That night, Riley's dad asked me about my job. I'm a software analyst, nothing glamorous, just crunching numbers and fixing bugs. He made a joke about geeks in basements and everyone laughed. I forced a chuckle, but Riley noticed the way I shifted in my seat. Later, in the car, they asked, why didn't you say something back? You just let people walk all over you. You shut down with me, you shut down with them, do you ever actually say what you feel? I snapped. For the first time in forever, I actually raised my voice. I don't want to fight with everyone all the time, Riley. Not everything has to be a confrontation. The silence that followed was worse than any fight. Here's where I need to admit something, I didn't tell you about my family. My parents divorced when I was 10. My mom is gentle, conflict avoidant like me. My dad? A volcano. He'd shout, throw things, slam doors. I used to hide in my room with headphones on until the storm passed. So yeah, I learned early, silence keeps you safe. Riley doesn't know all of that. They know pieces, sure, but not the full picture. Part of me thinks if I explained, maybe they'd understand. But another part of me thinks, would they care? Fast forward again, 2 weeks. Things reached a breaking point. It was a Saturday. We were supposed to meet up with Riley's friend group downtown. They're all extroverts, big personalities, loud laughs, always dragging us to karaoke bars and trivia nights. I usually fake smile my way through, but that day, I just couldn't. I told Riley, I'm not feeling it tonight. Can you go without me? They stared at me like I'd just announced I was moving to Mars. You never want to come with me anymore. Do you even want to be part of my life, Alex? I tried to explain, it's not you, it's just... I get overwhelmed. I need downtime. But Riley heard rejection. They heard, I don't care about you or your friends. We argued. Again. Their voice rose. My chest tightened. And, like clockwork, I shut down. I grabbed my jacket, said, I need air, and walked out. I ended up at a 24-hour diner across town, sitting in a booth alone, staring at a plate of pancakes I didn't even want. That's when I called my sister, Molly. She's 26, lives in another city, and she's the only person who really gets me. I spilled everything, about the dishes, the dinner with Riley's parents, the fight about their friends. Molly listened, then said, Alex, you've always run from conflict. I get it. But maybe Riley's not wrong. Maybe shutting down is dismissing. Maybe what you think is protecting them feels like rejection. That stung. I wanted her to say, you're fine, Riley's overreacting. But instead, she gave me honesty. When I finally dragged myself home at 2 a.m., Riley was still awake, sitting on the couch, eyes red from crying. They didn't even look at me when I walked in. Just said quietly, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And that cut deeper than anything. So here I am, read it. Writing this at 3 in the morning while Riley sleeps in the other room. I don't know what to do. I love them. I don't want to lose them, but every time I try to love them the only way I know how, by keeping the peace, it feels like I'm pushing them further away. Do I learn to fight? Do I risk turning into my dad? Or do I let them go because maybe they deserve someone who can meet them in the fire instead of running from it? I don't have answers yet. But the cracks are spreading, and I'm terrified they'll break us. After that night, the one where Riley told me they didn't know how much longer they could do this, I felt like I was living on borrowed time. Every little silence, every sigh, every sideways glance felt like a countdown clock over our heads. I couldn't eat. Couldn't focus at work. My co-workers asked if I was sick, and I just mumbled something about stress. Inside, I was spiraling. It happened, of course, over something stupid again. Dishes. Like the universe was mocking us. I'd cooked stir-fry. Riley had an awful day at work. They came home pale and quiet, which for them is worse than shouting. I figured I'd just leave the pan soaking in the sink overnight and clean it in the morning. Big mistake. Riley dropped their bag, saw the pan, and just snapped. They didn't yell right away. They started with this low, sharp voice that scared me more than shouting. You don't get it, Alex. You never get it. It's not the dishes. It's never been the dishes. It's that every time you walk away, or put something off, or shut down, you're telling me I don't matter. I felt my throat close up. The panic set in, heart racing, palms sweaty, every muscle screaming at me to leave. So I did what I always do. I turned toward the bedroom, and then I heard them shout, raw and desperate, don't you dare walk away from me again. I froze. Literally froze mid-step, like a kid caught with their hand in the cookie jar. I turned around, and for the first time, I saw not anger on Riley's face, but fear. Pure fear. I sat down at the table. My legs were shaking so badly I had to grip the chair. Riley sat too, eyes red and wet, hands trembling. They said, do you have any idea what it feels like to pour your heart out and watch the person you love leave the room? Like I don't even deserve a response. I muttered, I'm not trying to dismiss you. I'm trying not to explode. That's what I grew up with, screaming, slamming doors. I thought I was protecting us by stepping away. Riley went quiet. Then whispered, but silence is screaming to me. That sentence hit me harder than anything else. I broke then. Told them everything, about my dad's rage, about how I used to hide in my room with headphones until it was over, about how I promised myself I'd never be that man. I admitted that every time they raised their voice, I felt 10 years old again, trapped in that house. Riley cried. And then they said something I'll never forget, Alex, I'm not your dad. And you're not him either, but if you keep shutting me out, you'll lose me just like he lost your mom. It was like being punched in the gut. Because it was true. Here's the part that broke me. Riley admitted that for months now, they've been talking to someone. Not romantically, not cheating, nothing like that, but a colleague at work. Someone they vent to, someone who listens. They said, I didn't mean for it to happen, but I realized I was going to them with things I should have been bringing to you. And that scared me. I wanted to rage. I wanted to accuse. But all I felt was this deep, hollow ache, because I realized I pushed them there. My silence created that gap. Riley told me, I love you. But I can't keep living like this. If you want this to work, you need to meet me halfway. Therapy. Communication. Something. Because otherwise, I can't stay. My first instinct was panic. My second was denial. But my third, the one that finally rose above the noise, was clarity. I said, okay. I'll try. I'll do therapy. I'll fight for this. For the first time in weeks, I saw hope in Riley's eyes. Fast forward 1 month. We've started couples therapy. It's brutal. The therapist, a soft-spoken woman named Dr. Nguyen with sharp eyes that see straight through me, calls me out every session. She says I mistake avoidance for control, when really it's just fear. She makes Riley slow down too, makes them pause before raising their voice. It's like unlearning a language we both spoke fluently for years. Some days, I want to quit. Some days, Riley storms out and slams the door. But then, some days, we sit on the couch, holding hands, and actually talk without one of us shutting down or blowing up. And those moments feel like sunlight after months of rain. Last night, after therapy, Riley and I walked along the river downtown. The city lights reflected on the water, the air was cool, and for once, things felt calm. Riley squeezed my hand and said, I don't need perfect, Alex. I just need you here. Not in another room. Not hiding. Just here. And I realized, maybe that's what love really is, not never fighting. Not always agreeing. But staying. Even when it's uncomfortable. So that's where we are now. No guarantees. No fairy tale bow. Just two people, trying. And honestly, that's more than I ever thought I could do.